everybody is a creative. Because even if you are an accountant, you still are a creator of your own life and of the decisions and of the things that you do. It's truly finding your why and what sets you apart. Especially right now, because we are in a generation where people are more aware of their gifts and people want to exercise their gifts and use that as a way of earning an income.
In our different areas of functionality, we're all creating something.
Yeah, a person who's selling towels that are only found in one place in the world will do much better than a person who's selling towels that have 50 distributors.
Hi guys, welcome back to Becoming by Nqobileh M. And if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. I hope that you like, comment, subscribe, stay, refer a friend to the most. Today we have someone who's not a stranger to the channel, Mr. Hasbaby.
What's up?
How you doing, my guy?
Oh, good. It's been a while. I haven't been here in a minute.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I always feel like whenever we record a podcast, we're talking about what we talk about off camera anyways.
I honestly, we always say that. I feel like our content would be so dope if we'd always install a hidden camera, around our house, like in the car, because we have like such dope conversations.
Yeah, whenever we're driving or we're just chilling, or we're going out for coffee dates. Guys, we're not giving you ideas now. Please don't be installing cameras, invading our privacy. But yeah, I think the only difference here is just that we have a camera, mics are on.
Yeah.
But almost every single conversation we have
is a fruitful one.
Yeah.
100%. So I brought you on here today as a guest.
Okay. Oh, I'm a guest. I'm a guest.
As a guest today, because
I'm gonna make this trend like Cat Williams.
No, please don't. So for the past couple of episodes, obviously just trying to open up the platform and speak about more like educative stuff.
Yeah.
Bringing abroad different guests, just sharing different life experiences, speaking about mental health, speaking about transformation, growth, becoming, and so forth. So I don't think a lot of people actually know what it is that you do. So if you don't mind just giving us just a little bit of a of what it is that you actually do for a living.
Guys, I live
stay-at-home
for a living.
husband.
A stay-at-home husband. I look after our son and man, I praise God every day, man. That's what I do.
What do you get paid for?
Just for being a husband.
Where does my wife allowance come from?
For being a husband and doing the things, if you know what I mean. No, I'm joking. I mean, I always say it was always it's a good question. What you paid for and what your purpose is are sometimes two different things.
That's all. Just a short disclaimer before we start.
No disclaimers.
So,
let me speak.
There is this misconception going around. I don't know where does it come from, that I am the deep one in the relationship. Let me tell you guys something. Whenever my husband opens his mouth, he will speak about something deep at like 11 at night or like 4 a.m. in the morning, like unprovoked. Anyway, proceed.
She did say that she's going to try and put me under the bus. But that's actually her.
Proceed
all the
Mr.
time.
Depp.
That's her. But yeah, I was just saying, it's a good question because those are often two different things. And I think it can be frustrating sometimes because you wish what your purpose is something that you get paid for.
Yeah.
But it is better when you can find the link
between the two.
Yes. And I think sometimes modern society is always find what you love and you never work a day in your life. It's not going to happen like that for everybody. But 100%. Even if you do find something you love, you got to put in the work.
Difficult.
Yeah, it's still going to be difficult. It's not going to happen just for you like that. So amongst a couple of roles, I'm a creative entrepreneur, which just simply means I do what God created me to do, which is I think of things that are creative and I innovate and I create that and I bring that into being.
You make money out of it.
Yeah, I make money out of it. I do that for myself and I do that for my clients, either through my creative agency or creative strategy. But I like to sum it up in a sense that I'm a creator who creates.
Okay. So that basically, from what I'm hearing, it's the merge between corporate business entrepreneurship and like creative, flexible, nice, like fun stuff.
For me, yes. For everybody else, I think. Also, I always struggle with the word creative because it's been used to almost describe a certain industry. But I think over time for myself, it's a little bit different because to an extent, everybody is a creative. Because even if you are an accountant, you still are a creator of your own life and of the decisions and of the things that you do. And yeah, not to take it out of context, I do understand what people mean when they say creative. But yeah, that's how I see the word being a creative. But I think for me, it's different because I've been in the corporate space, and I've been in the marketing space. I've been in the sales space. Being a creative, and that I've always been my entire life.
Yeah.
So that's how that merges for me, because I've been a part of both, and what I'm building right now does require my corporate experience, and it does require all of me being a creative to merge it in order to build either a sustainable business, but also just the innovation Umuntu is working on.
It sounds like trying to bring together something that's in like the far end, like the opposite ends.
I think yes and no. I think it shouldn't be, which I think the world now has 100% moved over and doing better, because it's the typical sales and marketing in a company.
Yeah.
They're always at odds.
Yeah.
One is saying I need money, the other one is marketing and sales saying we need money to make this happen. Sales is like, no, but we work hard in order to bring in the money.
We're bringing in the money. Yeah.
But that's not true. It always works hand in hand. If Coke didn't have such a good brand, they won't be selling as much Coke.
100%.
But there needs to be a story, there needs to be a feeling, there needs to be a sense of identity with Coke to say, I want a Coke because that's what I saw, or I want a Red Bull because I look at all of the amazing things that they do in order to. So I think for the general person, it's always been seen and deemed as two different things. Like you even see in campus, others are studying marketing.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, it's okay, accounting, serious, creme de la creme. But which is a false narrative, I think, that's the world that has been sold. Because, essentially, they do belong together. But I do think sometimes we study or do the far end of each. So if you're creative, you're full on creative, and if you more in the accounting, the corporate, you're full on this side. And what ends up happening is that when you now say, okay,
how do you bring these two together?
Yeah, let's say I'm going to start my own business, but I've been fully a creative now. I had to register a company, get an accountant. What does margins mean? What does gross profit? What does profit mean? What does revenue mean? Same thing on this side. I know all this, but now I think I'm actually skilled in making designer plates.
Get you.
So how do I transition from that?
Get you.
So,
yeah. I think one of the most important things that you mentioned, and that like I'm getting from this conversation, is that in our different areas of functionality, we're all creating something.
Yeah.
And that in order for what you're creating to grow or to be known or to be seen, there has to be an element of marketing. So are you saying that we can't necessarily differentiate or treat it as separate entities, like entrepreneurship and marketing, or entrepreneurship and being a creative, because it's almost like one needs the other in order?
Yeah, I think all of it is together. Hey, all of it is together, because in whatever that you are creating, you need to tell your story, and you need for it to get out there.
Yeah.
Sales is a part of entrepreneurship or a brand or an organization. So is marketing, and so is HR, and so is all of that. It's all a part of that. I think you're fortunate. Okay, if you are going to go into the business space, you have to, even if you don't have your area of expertise. If I'm an accountant, I'm good with numbers. If I'm the creator, I'm good with the vision. I'm good with A, B, C, and D. But I need to understand a little bit of everything else, but rather I'll hire people who know it better than me.
I get you.
That's the idea as you go on. But if you're not fortunate enough to have all of that, then you're either going to get mentors in the other areas, and to some extent, you need to know what's happening.
Yeah.
Just because I think you've seen it with your business.
Yeah.
You study psychology, but when it's time to get your practice up and running, etc., you realize, there's actually a lot of business.
100%. And I wasn't trained in business. Like, I don't have a background in corporate or in business. So I had to go learn.
But right now, you're at a much better, because you're running your own business and you're building a team. You're in a much better space because you have to. But in the long run, I want to know what's happening so that I can read, and nobody can steal what you're building,
but I can get somebody
but
else.
you can get somebody
with-
else to do that.
The better level of expertise to do that for
100%.
me. Interesting. What would you say are some of the challenges that you've faced? Because you know, when I again, I'm obviously trying to think about it post knowing you, or post like pre knowing you, like before
Okay.
I met you, and like before I got involved in like what you do, and I got a better understanding. I'm trying to look at it from a sort of like a normal person's perspective,
Yeah.
right? So what would you say are some of the challenges that you face as a creative entrepreneur? Just in navigating like different spaces, where they're trying to navigate corporate, where they're trying to navigate the creative space. Like, what are some of the challenges that you went through in trying to create that merge? Because it's almost like creating something that everybody knows it's there, but that nobody knows is there. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting question because there's so many ways to answer it. I think the typical one is either access and understanding the different spheres of what it takes for you to still be a creative and entrepreneur at the same time. But I think more than that, for me, it's truly finding your why and what sets you apart. Especially right now, because we are in a generation where people are more aware of their gifts and people want to exercise their gifts and use that as a way of earning an income. So I would say the first challenge is truly clocking out of everything else that you see, because it's going to influence you.
100%.
But actually finding moments of silence, finding moments of peace, of truly digging into yourself as to what are you about and what sets you apart. Yeah. So I think it's that. It's truly finding what sets you apart. I find, or I see that makes it easier for you to stand out now as an entrepreneur, because if you're a videographer, there's cell phones right now that take good video. There's AI that can help you edit.
There's a course
There's a course everywhere. Everybody wants to be a YouTuber. Actually, being a YouTuber is the number one wanted career in the world right now. Everybody, a kid growing up, when we grew up, what do you, a doctor?
Right now people want to be content creators.
Want to be a YouTuber, want to be a content creator. So, for example, if you look at it in that sense, okay, fine, you want to do videos, but what is going to set you apart? Maybe you just want to be a videographer solely focused on doctors, helping them tell their stories and positioning them the right way. The other things are more education based. It's self-development. It's I think the information is accessible. That's why I won't focus on that, but rather how do you zero in? And I'm saying that because I know that it's something that I've kind of had a challenge with. After learning a couple of skills, okay, you learn sales, you learn video, you learn photo, you learn corporate, you learn marketing, you learn A, B, C, and D. And it's like, okay, how does this fit in? How do you package it? How does it fit in to my purpose? Or how does it fit into the bigger picture? How does it fit in from a business perspective? But really, if you can narrow that down and start from the roots up, I do think by the time you learn all the other things that develop you into being an entrepreneur, develop you into having a better business, it becomes easier, because then a person who's selling towels that are only found in one place in the world will do much better than a person who's selling towels that have 50 distributors.
100%. I get you. It sounds like it's been a journey, and I think maybe I'm speaking more like that because I've been part of that journey with you. And you keep on using the word purpose quite a lot, right? So sort of just want to tap into that. Like, what does the word purpose mean to you, and what are some of the because I'm also just trying to, what's the word, like sort of like milk out just the human aspect of the journey, like the how did it affect your health, how did it affect your relationships, how did it affect your mental health, like just take me through the journey of how is it that you found your purpose, how is it that you became rooted in your purpose and found ways to make your purpose bring you an income, or like you get what I'm trying to say.
I am. Yo, gosh, that's a loaded. You asked a lot of things, but in one stint. Why do I keep mentioning the word purpose? I think deep down inside, now that I look back, growing up, I've always wanted to have some form of meaning. but I couldn't voice it. I couldn't, I've always wanted to either be a part of a community, be able to do something that's fulfilling, etc. But at the time, I didn't have enough resources to even put it into words that I've always wanted to have impacts in some way, relationships, etc. But when I joined youth at church as an early teen, I got more exposed. Okay, it's called purpose. Okay, there's something called that. You get exposed to serving. You get exposed to what it is to be a leader. You get exposed what it is to be a part of a team, to understand some structure. And then on top of that, we are part of a dance crew with some of our friends. So being a part of that dance crew, then you started exercising some of those things that we were learning. Oh, okay, there's structure. We can create. We can do this. We can travel. We can do A, B, C, and D. And I think understanding purpose truly came from there, but it became even more important because then now I could articulate that feeling that I've always had as a child. The way I understand purpose is God gave us a full cup when we were born, and the idea is that by the time we leave this earth, your cup should be empty. Dr. Miles Monroe often said that the richest place in the world isn't the banks, isn't the jewelry stores, isn't the stock markets, but it's the graveyard, because it's full of songs that were never written, it's full of books that were never written, it's full of movies that were never played, it's 100%. Full of because I think most of us don't or some people don't live a life of purpose, so they don't get an awakening. We live a life of career and job,
because that's what society says you need to be to succeed. Go to school, study something, get a salary, live like that for the rest of your life.
100%. And not to say that there's anything wrong with job and career.
100%,
yes,
that's what we're doing.
Yes, 100%. And that's why we said at the beginning, sometimes your career or your job is not your purpose. Because again, you have to differentiate the two. But life does really teach the masses to just focus on the job and the career part. And for some people find their purpose in that.
I think I'm one of those people that found my purpose in my work. Because I always make this example that when I'm, and you know this, like when I'm feeling like crap, give me someone to do therapy with. I'll walk out of that room feeling like a champ. Like it feeds me. It feeds me so much. But I like what you said. Like it's almost like the graveyard is filled with cups that aren't emptied.
100%. And it's hard to make the jump. Some people do realize, this is my purpose. But in terms of my belief, your purpose, one, comes from God, and your first purpose is to spread who God is and share the good news. That's the first purpose. I think I got truly enlightened to that, is that sometimes we also use the word purpose wrongly because we use it for selfish desires.
100%.
And I think on social media, there's a lot of my purpose is. But you find that my purpose is mostly filled with selfish desires and egotistical thoughts or ways of living. Whereas my first purpose is to firstly share the good news. Wherever I am, whatever I represent, whatever I do. Yes, sometimes I may
see
not
God
say
in you
overtly, but people must be able to see God in me. And then more than that, then God gave me gifts, which is my cup, which I should now use and leave here without being full.
So that's your creative side.
I think it's my creative side put together with the ability
of the things that you've learned or acquired as well, like throughout your journey in life.
But for me, I think essentially my purpose is sharing love and inspiration through using creative innovation.
Nice. That's such a nice way of putting it. I need to find something like that dope to sum up my purpose.
Bradley Klubi, one of our leaders growing up, always said, you should have a mission statement for your life.
That's
and
good.
Your mission statement will be tied into your work. And your mission statement should include
what you do,
what it is you do, how do you do it, and what is the impact of it. So
nice.
I think for me, that's why I don't like boxing it. I've boiled it down to that. It's just sharing love and inspiration using creative innovation of media, and also using those platforms to share the love of God and who God is.
That's great. I'm challenging every single one of you guys to go and write down your your mission statements in life, myself included.
Yeah.
Good. Like that's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's
So,
really,
I
really
mean,
good stuff.
so to add on to that, if I remember correctly, some of the ways that you can do that is, ask weird questions. What is it you hate? What do you love? When there's a subject, what do you often feel compelled to speak about without even thinking about it?
Nice. Are we taking down notes?
What do you want to see less of in the world? What would you like to see more of in the world? What inspires you? What keeps you? If you see this or you do this, you feel like you are doing it almost effortlessly, or you feel accomplished.
It's good.
Usually, answering those questions will narrow it down to what it is you should be doing.
And it sounds like a journey. Like it sounds like it's a journey that you've been through ups and downs, through hurts, through growth and uncomfortable growth and challenges and all of these other things to actually get you to a space where you can answer all of those questions and be able to articulate your purpose in so much depth, but also in just so much simplicity and clarity as well.
Yeah, 100%. I can safely say that's one of the things I've had my ups and downs with.
Yeah.
I do think in hindsight, now and again, I was too overly obsessed about purpose that it blocked me from making certain steps and certain decisions because I was always like, okay, is this feeding into my purpose? Is it not? Is it going in the direction that God wants me to go? And I know that, I'd have moments where it would worry me. I'd have moments where it would keep me confused. It had moments where it would keep me down. And I think also the creative in me is almost sometimes a perfectionist, wanting to do things when they make sense and etc. So
but
I
life doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
life isn't linear. I think I said this in my previous episode as well.
It's true. So I know that that's definitely been one of the struggles, but I think, gosh, it really takes time of introspection. It takes acceptance. It takes, for me, meditating and a relationship with God. And it also it takes, that's why I think going back to that and having people that
coming
you trust.
Back to the self. It almost like it takes being within the self.
It takes
listening to yourself,
but
figuring
also finding
yourself
people
out.
that you trust.
That
you can say, hey, what
because you need a sounding board.
Hey, you know what? This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm thinking. And I think some people are lucky enough to just know what their purpose is, just like that. I think for me, if I look back on my journey, being a creative and learning a certain amount of skills didn't help me to fully narrow it down. I'm very grateful right now for everything that I've learned. Like I've said, from sales, business, I could think of a creative idea now. You just saw a pilot episode we were working on,
you're like a
presenting, etc. So I learned all of these things because I love them too, not because I felt like I'm chasing this or I'm chasing. No, I was really intrigued by, gosh, I could do this. So that's why the word create for me is so important, because it was that if I could think of this, I can apply myself,
bring it to life.
I can bring things to life.
So
for some people, I think it's simpler. And I think that's great, but I think I relate more to the people who are like, hey, you know what? I've learned A, B, C, and D. I've seen this.
But what does all of this mean now?
What does it mean?
What do I do with all of this?
What do I do with it? Etc. And it can be frustrating. I know it can be frustrating. It sometimes you'd find yourself in spaces where you're like, okay, I'm here, but you're not supposed to be here. But that's all you have right now because you don't know what's the answer to the next thing. But going back to self
helps.
I
get you. You speak about frustrations. What are some of the things that you did to help you manage those frustrations, or to just help you, like almost like bring your mental health back in check after this process, this rigorous process of finding your purpose? What do you think helped?
I think
from a mental health space?
I think I forgot who said this, but the line was always keep things in front of you that inspire you.
Yeah.
So that could be people.
Yeah.
That could be activities. That could be taking a walk on the beach.
Yeah.
That could be
With healthy
a gym
outlets.
session.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think one that helps. Always keeping things in front of you that inspire you,
Yeah.
that help you to spark certain things, certain feelings. Because I do think the flesh sometimes it wants to do its own thing.
Yeah.
And you have to help bring it in check. You have to help your mind sometimes to bring it in check. You have to help your body sometimes to bring it in check. Which means that sometimes you have to go do activities that remind your mind and your body to bring you back. So
it's like I always say, the flesh is you constantly being in the terrible twos.
Yeah. Sometimes it wants to do this, next time it wants to do that. Today it doesn't want to wake up, tomorrow it wants to wake up.
And you constantly
inspired.
have to pull it and discipline it and sit it down.
And that's the word. I think it's discipline. I think discipline really is sometimes a way to kickstart yourself.
100%.
It is. It's. I know that everybody speaks about it. Okay, it's hard. And yes, I think it is to some extent. But over time, realize that discipline is almost like putting parameters for yourself. That before I even sink, let me quickly go to the gym, and I know that that is going to protect my body by releasing certain endorphins and making sure that I feel a certain way. I feel accomplished already. And, for me, it might be the gym. For somebody else, it might be a discipline of at least trying to take a sunset walk down the beach once or twice a week.
Yeah.
And that's going to help them to come back from everything else that they're doing in the world that keeps them busy, keeps them frustrated or confused, etc. And it's that's my moment of self. That's my discipline. For somebody else, it's making sure that they read at least 3 times a week or once a week or twice a week. And I think I'm choosing to look at discipline in that way. And I know that everybody speaks about discipline and will have their own different thing. But for me, it's the parameters and the way to kickstart yourself. If you know that you're procrastinating, discipline will help you kickstart.
What are some of the things that you do that help kickstart your discipline?
A gym.
Yeah.
1, that's always that. 2 is I listen to a huge amount of music.
That's true.
I listen to music.
All the genres.
Any day, all genres, really, depending on what I'm feeling like. Yeah, I'll be bumping gospel, Afro-tech, Afrobeats.
Literally everything.
I listen to music is that. The one that you don't like is I watch comedy.
Let's not get into it. I don't understand that.
Now and again, in a day, not every day, but just 30 minutes of comedy.
Just to log off.
Just to log off. I need that time to just log off and come back to myself.
I think there's one that you've started doing over the past couple of days, which is something that I would personally really struggle with. But I've seen that you're doing it and you're doing it quite well. And I can see that it's actually causing such a huge improvement in just your overall mental state. And that's fasting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm dedicated. I've done it before, but I think I'm doing it differently now. With just more dedication, 100%, at least once or twice a week, I will fast.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a 48-hour fast, 24-hour fast, or I'll have one meal for the day, take away certain pleasures, whether it's sugar, etc. Music also, I'll stop listening to certain types of music to make sure that. So that's one of the big disciplines I've taken on.
I think I'm really loving this conversation because one of the core things that I've been wanting to do with this platform this year is sort of like expand the conversation of mental health and take it out of just speaking about sickness and disease and like all of those things, and sort of like just bring the conversation of mental health alive in our everyday sorts of things. And that's why I brought you abroad, and that's why I'm bringing other people abroad, because it's so lovely to hear you bring this aspect of mental health, like in the sense that these are the things that you can do in your everyday life to help you find your purpose, to help you get disciplined. These are the challenges that you go through in your everyday life, even as an entrepreneur, even as a creative. And these are the things that we might not think are part of mental health, but these are the things that you're doing to sort of help keep you in check, like fasting, like going to the gym, like reading, like watching comedy and listening to music and so forth. So thank you so much for helping me and helping this channel articulate that so well in what it is that you do.
No, thank you.
Just the last question before we wrap it up. What do you think is the future of mental health in entrepreneurship or the creative space? Or both?
It's a good question. I think it's going to tie into something I wanted to say before this, but the way you asked the question, I'm going to mention it here. The future of mental health in entrepreneurship and creativity. I think one of the questions that, or one of the things that people often say, especially in our culture, is like, oh, but mental health wasn't there before. People survived just fine. Why is it a problem now? Not everybody is depressed.
Everyone is depressed.
Not everybody is anxious. Not everybody is etc.
Almost every single day.
But also, there wasn't that much technology before. There wasn't that much access to drugs. There wasn't that much peer pressure. There wasn't that much exposure. There wasn't that much financial systems that make sure they keep people down. There wasn't that much peer pressure. There wasn't that much confusion. There wasn't that much. I mean, I could keep going on. There wasn't that much cost. There wasn't that much houses. There wasn't that
everything
much,
basically.
The financial system has changed. Everything has changed.
Life was simpler.
And
there were fewer things that were influencing people's everyday lives.
100%. And I think that's going to add to it becoming more complicated.
Yes.
So that's what I think. I think the future is that one, the amount of stimulants that are going to be there, either from a community point of view, devices, community, etc., all of it is going to double and it's going to be more. But I do think that the future is in people acknowledging and realizing the importance of being able to switch off, the importance of being able to find moments and spaces that they're able to ground themselves in.
That's good.
So I think there's definitely going to be more digital platforms from people either just seeking different ways in order to be able to come back to self. I do think there's going to be way more wellness retreats, and I do think that the stigma is going to start dropping. I think entrepreneurs and creatives and people alike are going to start every 6 months. I'm going to go away for 3 days or a week to a place, and it's going to have a sauna, people that are going to do yoga, people that do want to do therapy, just different forms of clocking out and clocking off. I think there's going to be way more of those across the globe. I think there's going to be way more supportive communities in the form of WhatsApp groups, meetups, etc. of people and conversations of people. Not just there to. I know that everybody hears mental health. People hear people that are going to just cry together.
Or like stress and
just
like
stress or like
and that's what I'm trying to destigmatize this
100%. Like I remember I spoke to one lady who attended one of these ladies' events, and they were like,
all we do is cry at ladies'
events. That's what she said. She's like, I'm not about that life. She's a business coach. She's like, okay, it's great. I thought it was going to be cool. She's like, I think it's cool to assess it, but for her, she's like, I'm not about that. Every time we're crying, we go through this and we then. Like, no, I'm moving with the movers. And if that's men,
then I'm moving with the men.
If it's ladies, it's ladies. But I think the stigma of every time people hear the word mental health in the events in the communities that people are going to provide, I think also the people organizing will start changing that.
Yes.
So I think that stigma is also probably going to go away because people are going to focus more of the building rather than the sick or the we come in a cry together idea of it.
Yeah. Because mental health is so much more than that. It is so much more. And I absolutely love how you answered this question. And again, it speaks so much into the narrative that I'm trying to drive this year. You know, mental health is literally everything that affects your level of productivity. So if being burnt out is affecting your productivity, then that's your mental health. If not logging off, not clocking off, not going for a jog, not going for a walk, not going to the gym, not having someone to speak to, not having a positive outlet, like if the lack of that is negatively influencing your productivity, then that's something that affects your mental health. And that then brings it back to mental health is an everyday thing. It's not just a word anymore. Like mental health has literally come alive. It's everything that you do that affects how you're going to show up in everything else 100%. And all the other areas of your life. So I absolutely love that response, you know, finding time to log off. I like the future that you described. And I want to go there. I want to be part of that future. Where logging off is normalized.
It's been optimistic, and I don't know if maybe another synonym for mental health has to come, you know, because people have just been so stigmatized with the way that they understand it to be. So I think maybe also coming up with different words. And, well, I think there already is. You know, people say holistic health.
Yes.
You know, I know that
people are gravitating towards life coaches, which are also people who train to help facilitate the way in which you're showing up and the way in which you're productive and your overall well-being. So we're getting somewhere.
Maybe the word you're not going to be a psychologist anymore. Just
who knows? A
friend to talk to. Just maybe you're going to start saying that, so people are not like, when I say psychologist, what is wrong with me? You're suggesting me. I've heard people fight about that.
100%. Oh. One of my clients' parents, I think she's 8. She refers to me as her talking friend.
So I
absolutely love that.
Yeah, that's
so
cool.
she walks in and she's like, I have a list of all of the things that I want to discuss with my talking friend today.
Because I'm sure some people, we imagine, let's say a friend is going through something and the friend is like, hey, friend, I actually think you should go see a psychologist. Yeah. I'm sure the tears even dry up for some people. It's like, what?
You think I'm crazy?
You think, sing a song. Now I must go see. So I think I know that people are saying, okay, you know what? The truth is we have come a long way, period.
Yeah. No, 100%. 100%.
But I think the other truth is that we have a long way to go.
And we're getting there.
Yeah. As soon as people hear mental health or psychologist or therapy, people really associate that with Shuti.
Just negativity.
Yeah. Shuti, I can't even survive. I can't operate anymore.
Yeah.
Shuti, it's things are jumped.
Yeah.
But we have, I'm going to be here lots. There's way more things we're going to discuss. I've invited myself to future podcasts.
Clearly.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for joining me today. It's been absolutely great. I absolutely love having conversations with you. You spark my creativity.
But we actually would have spoken about this in the car, like you said.
100%.
This would have been a conversation just driving home.
So take home message. Everybody go make your wisdom statement, number 1. Anything else? Statement. Your vision statement?
Make your vision statement. If you can, buy a book by Simon Sinek. It's called Start With Why. If you can't buy the book, you can join an app that summarizes that book. But I think it's very important amongst other reading materials just to help you find your why and operate from a different vibration that is more closer to your core so that you can have more impact in the things that you do.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Maphumulo, a.k.a. Hasbay.
Thank you for having me. I'm very proud of you. Man, she's an amazing mom, amazing wife. She does it all.
Listen.
Does it all.
Thank you so much, guys. It's been absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Maphumulo. We'll see you guys in our next episode. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, refer a friend, refer a parent, a colleague, a pet, everything.
But you are right, though. I think your vision of having this platform as something that sparks conversation across the board, it's something that's not intimidating. And thankfully, there's a lot of other people who have started those platforms.
Yeah.
But specifically, the amount of education, conversations, and things that you're just going to break down and give to people as value. I think people should invite everybody.
I'm excited. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the future of becoming. And I hope that you guys are too. All right. Take it easy. And if it ain't easy, what do they say?
10 lemons into lemonade.